something wrong with your television set, do not attempt to adjust the picture. We are controlling transmission. We will control the horizontal. We will control the vertical. We can change the focus to a soft blur or sharpen it to crystal clarity. For the next hour, sit quietly and we will control all that you see and hear. You are about to participate in you are about awe and mystery which reaches from the inner mind to the outer limits.
Welcome to the Reality Check. Ben Shannerman, your host, with you here, live from our Mesa studios. So the big news this week is I can't say ain't, but you could say bomb cyclone. What the heck's up with that? Just kidding about that. The real big news, of course, we know. Who is it? Groprah Winfrey. She must be getting desperate for money. What nerve. Here's a lady who had guests with credentials worse than Jerry Springer show. For too long, women have not been heard or believed, she says. That's what Juanita Broderick, Paula Jones, Kathleen Willey, and so many others kept trying to tell Oprah. But she was just too busy playing footsie with the likes of Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton, and not to mention passing the woman who should be heard along to her buddy Harvey. She didn't even invite the victims to the Golden Globe Awards. She didn't invite the victims to this party where they were standing up for the women. No siree. Who cares what the victims have to say, right? Another case of sad but true. So Democrats, right? We can't have a television billionaire with no political experience as president. Democrats. Oprah for president. Yeah, that's great. Great diversity there. Now, of course, Oprah Winfrey, remember that time she manufactured it? Last time she was looking for some publicity, amongst many times where she had on guests that bought O.J. Simpson stuff and burn him as a little stunt. And oh, by the way, Oprah didn't even do any research on her guest. He was somebody who was not only a child abuser but never paid child support, abandoned his own child, attacked his wife. That's the type of guest she had on her show. And we can go down the list. And then, like I said, lower class probably almost in the Jerry Springer show, because at least you know what those people are. But Oprah Winfrey, remember, in 2013, without any proof, she had her own racial controversy in order to promote her movie, the Lee Daniels, The Butler. When she was on Entertainment Tonight, she accused a Swiss shop girl of racism. I say to the woman, excuse me, may I see that $38,000 purse? Now, Oprah, a person of the people with a $38,000 purse she's looking at, right above your head. And she said to Oprah, and this is what Oprah says that the woman said, no, it's too expensive. She refused to get it. Winfrey dramatically explained. But Winfrey refused to back up her story by identifying the store or the racist clerk. Eventually, though, the store and the shop girl were located, and the young woman accused of racism by the oh-so-powerful Oprah Winfrey, the most powerful woman in the world, that Oprah was a liar. I didn't hurt anybody. I don't know why someone as great as her must cannibalize me on TV. If it had all taken place as she claimed, why has she not complained the next day at the wedding of Tina Turner with Trudy Goetz, her boss? She was there also at the Turner wedding as a guest. I don't understand it. I spoke to Oprah in English. My English is okay, but not excellent, unfortunately. I didn't know who she was when she came in the store. It wouldn't have made any difference if I had. And Oprah's bizarre response to the whole thing was pretty much, was she saying that this girl was lying? Was Oprah outraged? Was she furious? No, she backed off and kind of offered a almost non-apology, sorry thing. And she was just sorry that the incident got blown up. So obviously no evidence, nothing to substantiate anything she says. Typical. You have Obama and Oprah when you talk about the big O, but they never deliver, liberalism is the big letdown. Oprah said that she didn't know. Oprah didn't know. And I'll say, in my best Maury Povich voice, when it comes to the case of Harvey Weinstein, you knew. I knew. Everybody knew. Even Scotty knew. If you remember that song, Scotty Doesn't Know, from Eurotrip, yeah, trust me, everybody knew. Again, so now we could say we should get the good old stenographer, from today's meeting that you guys saw that Trump had with Democrats and Republicans alike, and they talked about, the immigration policy and how to pass a bill and whatnot. So if you look at it, if we had a stenographer there from the Democrat side, this would be what the stenographer had typed down, and I could read it verbatim right here. DACA, 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 DACA. That's all we got. That's the total package that we got from the Democrat side of anything. I mean, even Trump, who has trouble behaving himself at times, is behaving himself, trying to talk to them, trying to have a conversation everywhere. It's DACA, DACA. We need DACA, DACA, DACA. American people are starving. DACA. We need better health care for people. DACA. We need to control the wall so this doesn't happen and the poor kids that were brought here against their own will aren't brought here again. DACA, DACA, DACA. That was the whole conversation. I mean, like we always say, liberalism is a mental disorder, and in this case, again, of course, proven many times as we see fit there. NFL this weekend, 4 games. Last week, 2-2. The 2 I lost were teams I didn't really have going anywhere, so that's good. And with the KC Tennessee game, I got that one wrong. KC is a much better team. Tennessee is just, they're not a good team, but I should be ashamed of myself because I didn't follow my golden rule. And my golden rule in that game would be always go against Andy Reid in the big game because he sucks, especially in the big game. He's kind of like Marty Schottenheimer. Get you 10 to 12 wins every year. Playoff record, yeah, not so much. Jags beat Buffalo. Pretty boring game. Blake Bortles was pretty atrocious. Tyrod Taylor was Tyrod Taylor. The defenses played well, but I mean, half of that was the quarterbacks playing so horrible. I mean, Bortles came through at the end. He realized he wasn't passing well, and he ran all over the place and did enough for the Jaguars to win. Saints beat the Panthers. That was a pretty good game. Drew Brees is Drew Brees. He did his thing. The Panthers defense played pretty well. They kind of shut down, most of the big running attack from New Orleans. They had a few miscommunications, but as far as the Panthers, you got to look at poor Cam Newton and think, this poor guy, man, they have no help for him whatsoever. None. I mean, there's just no help at all for Cam Newton. He's sitting there, no receivers. And I remember when they traded away Calvin Benjamin, I thought that was the wrong thing to do. But just seeing Calvin Benjamin in Buffalo, yeah, he's horrible. I've never seen a guy get so many penalties in my life. Offensive pass interference. I mean, he's pretty rough with that. But that being said, the Panthers they got to get some assets for Cam Newton. I mean, they just have nothing. If they had some wide receivers, they had a shot to win that game. Rams-Falcons lost on that one. I just thought that the Falcons have just been playing really inconsistent all year round, and they actually stepped up, and now they put themselves in a good position because, they won. They beat the Rams. It's weird. You look at the stats of the game, and it looked pretty close, but if you watch the game and seen the score, it wasn't that close. So, like I said, 2-2. Next week, you have Patriots and Tennessee, and of course, I had picked the Patriots to beat whoever else, but I mean, playing Tennessee, that's literally another bye. I mean, it couldn't have been. It can't be scripted more. I mean, New England, and they are definitely best coach, best quarterback, but things just fall their way, and that's part of winning his luck, and they're sure getting it with that matchup against Tennessee. Steelers, Jaguars. Steelers are going to win that game. The Steelers, they have the best, the best running back, the best wide receiver, two of the best offensive assets. I mean, if Ben Roethlisberger keeps his cool and does this thing, the Jaguars they were not going to score enough points. I know the Steelers' defense is somewhat suspect, but you got to see that just Jaguar. I mean, unless Bortles starts throwing the ball accurate, which, I wouldn't bet much on. Steelers win. They have home field. They have a week off. It's just there's too many ways the Steelers can win. Very few ways the Jaguars can win. Saints and Eagles. Nick Foles. That's really all you have to say. Nick Foles is just not going to do enough. He's not going to do enough. If I'm the Saints, I stack that box, stop the run because Philly has a bunch of good running backs, and I just, make Nick Foles beat me. And that's not going to happen. Nick Foles might have a throw or two that's good, but that's going to be about it. I mean, the Saints can march up and down the field. Not at will, but enough against the Eagles. Defense, the Saints should win that one pretty handily. Vikings, Falcons. It's crazy. Case Keenum, I am totally not impressed by the way he played. A lot of people are on the Case Keenum bandwagon. He's been okay. I mean, just nothing great, but it's amazing that I was just looking up the other day, just some college football stats, and Case Keenum has the most yards out of any quarterback in the history of college football passing-wise. I found that was actually pretty surprising to me. He played for Houston Power Offense in college, but Case Keenum is mistake prone. It can happen. But as long as he doesn't, bomb out in this game, and I think if he gets to that point, it'll be just like Alabama. They'll switch quarterbacks to the Vikings. Teddy Bridgewater will come in and he'll be able to save the day. I mean, the Falcons' defense isn't great, and just like I said, they played inconsistent all year. I couldn't put my marbles on them. I couldn't put, my eggs in their basket. It's too inconsistent and it catches up with you. I mean, they won last week. They played well, but the Vikings coming off a week of rest, coming off with home field. I see Vikings there. So hopefully they get better than the 2-2 last week, but, that is what that is, right, as we say. So what's the difference between Rosenstein, remember the couple that were spies against America, and the Clintons? Not much difference, I say. He's unstable. They've said the same thing from Goldwater, Bush, Reagan, always the same thing. They're not smart, they're unstable. We've heard this stuff for 50 years. I mean, it's the same old playbook. It's old, might as well be the Communist Manifesto. I mean, if you listen to what they say, it's like just throwing shit up on a wall and see what's going to stay. Trump colluded with Russia. Trump didn't even want to win the election. And it's like one thing, the left thing. It's like one of them's telling you left, one of them's telling you right. It just makes Trump seem smarter every day. Because he's so stupid, he never ran before and he won. He's so dumb that he didn't want to win the election and he won. I mean, it's amazing just the stuff you hear, but that's what you got there with that stuff. You had Representative Keith Ellison, not a friend of America, promoting the Antifa handbook on Twitter. That's a good job. But what do you expect from him? I mean, you got to think, if you want to talk about, we're just talking about how not smart Trump was and how brilliant Obama is with the massive IQ. I mean, you got to think it's brilliant the way Obama planned the economy out, that it would coast along with growth his entire time in office, and he just figured it out, like right when he leaves, it's going to take off like a rocket right when he leaves. I mean, that guy is really smart. How many of us could have planned it like that? It's like running a business, and the whole time you make no money you're there, and then it makes money. I mean, you might as well be the Jeff Fisher of the NFL, right? Like he says about the Rams, oh, the minute he left, that's why they're good, because he set them up for success. Some people, you gotta, I don't know what they're thinking. There are reports that the memos that ex-FBI Director James Comey leaked to a professor were all classified. So James Comey, hopefully, it'd be nice if he'd be arrested. You know, I have a whole arrest list. Instead of a Christmas list, I should have an arrest list. But, well, obviously this week about Fusion GPS, which will go throughout the show from time to time, we know that Hillary funded phony dossier. And the one thing that people are now trying to say, well, that's opposition research, it's okay. Even though when Trump was trying to get opposition research, or his son was, that wasn't okay. But that's not the whole point is in the Fusion GPS. What people got to understand is it's more than twofold, but two of the main things are, one is that with Fusion GPS, they not only did they use this to get FISA warrants to spy on Donald Trump as a candidate, because not only that and the other stuff we know about that, but also this was paid from Hillary Clinton's campaign. It was well over $10 million they paid. And number one, she's saying she didn't know anything about it. So not only should she not run a country, she shouldn't even run a lemonade stand. If you don't know where $10 plus million of your money is going. And number two is when they paid for it, they did not mark it as such what it was. So they lied about it. It was illegally spent money, campaign fraud, in other words, to make it simple terms. You know, but it was cold this week on the East Coast. Even when my wife treated me as a present for the holidays, we went to the Rangers fan. How nice it was in Phoenix. It was 50 degrees in Phoenix, and in New York it was like 4 degrees. But, you know, people ask, I mean, really, how cold was it on the East Coast? And it was so cold on the East Coast that I saw a socialist with his hands in his own pocket. So now we have, let's see, Nancy Pelosi's son partying with the Trumps the other day. That was kind of interesting. We have good old New Jersey, where I grew up in, is the last state, I guess, that doesn't allow you to pump your own gasoline. Now, I remember, that's where I grew up. When I moved out here, I was probably about 23 years old, maybe 24. And I pulled up to a gas station, and it's like, you pump your own gas. And I saw people getting around. It's like, wow, I'd never pumped. I can't say I never did, because I drove a motorcycle in New Jersey, so sometimes they'd let you do that, you know, but in general, it's just kind of weird pumping your own gas. That's cool, though. You get in, you get out quicker, and you don't have to wait for somebody. You don't have to stand around, and you don't have to pay extra for the privilege of standing around. So that is definitely good, and New Jersey should get on the bandwagon and let you pump your own gas. You know, it would be nice to pump your own gas. So again, how cold it was, right? We said it was so cold in New York that socialists put their hands in their own pocket. And it was also so cold that Elizabeth Warren claimed to be an Eskimo. Another good one. The fake Indian Pocahontas. I guess they realize her stock is so low, that's why they want to Oprah to run. So, you know, I always say one thing when we talk about voting, voter ID. You know, India has it, Mexico has it. But now here in America, we still don't have voter ID. How come we just can't? The country they love so much, Mexico, we need to bring those people here. Oh, don't we want them to assimilate? Make them get voter ID like the rest of everybody else, right? We're the only, I mean, It's unbelievable. We're the only major country that does not have voter ID. What else can we say about that? Trey Gowdy. I've said about Trey Gowdy, he looks, he's kind of like we say, looks pretty from far, but far from pretty. Or there's that, what's that? It's a commercial. I don't remember who it's for, but it's a dentist and he's teeth. Or he's supposed to be fixing the guy's teeth. The guy sits down and he looks at his teeth. He's like, yep, they look bad. And he's like, okay, cool. And the guy's like, all right, bye. And he's like, wait, you're not going to fix them? And he's like, no, I'm just a dental monitor. And that's the way Trey Gowdy's become. He's a Clinton scandal buster. Or he's the one who brings the scandals to you, tells you about them. But he's just a Clinton scandal monitor. He doesn't actually do anything about them. Still no arrests from it. We're never going to drain that swamp. Until we get some arrests here. It's like when I worked in a grocery store and we'd get a shoplifter and the cops would be like, oh, should we take him out the back or do you want us to swat? No, handcuff him and walk him across the front of the store. Because when you do stuff like that, it sends a message to the other people that you're serious. But until you do stuff like that, you're pretty much, you're not going to get anywhere because it doesn't stop them. That's the only thing that stops is when they see that it's like the club on your car. It's not that it necessarily stops everything, but people think, the criminals think that just takes too much time. Let me just go jack the car next to you, So Elizabeth Warren again, the Eskimo, Indian, whatever you want to call her. Dreamers aren't bargaining chips. They aren't pawns. We made a promise. We said come out of the shadows and be fully woven into the fabric of America because that's who you are. In America, we work hard and dream big. We must keep our promises to dreamers. For Elizabeth Warren, a law teacher, law professor at Harvard, who makes about $250,000 a year to teach one class. Yet she's one of the people, says he didn't build that. She should know that in America, we actually follow laws. We don't shield criminals for votes. They're not dreamers. A lot of them are people that came in. They're people that came in here illegally. You want to talk about the young kids who they had no choice. That's one thing. But most of these people, and even part of those people, when you're 40 years old and you're still pretending you're going to college, but you're not going to college, and you're DACA. Yeah, I'm a dreamer. No. That's not what this is about. And we didn't make a promise to them. You and your corrupt Democrats did. Just remember that, Warren. It was you and your Democrats. Las Vegas. We haven't talked about Las Vegas, and I mentioned a little bit last week. I think last week was when they shed the light on we will have no answer at all until October. So a full year. And of course, we learned at Vegas, there's no recording devices anywhere. But the staff at the Mandalay Bay Hotel said that they did interact with Stephen Paddock more than 10 times in the days before he unleashed the deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history, including twice. It was the day of the massacre. So room service, housekeepers, other hotel staff had contact with Paddock right up until the shooting. MGM Resorts told the Las Vegas Review-Journal that included a room service delivery and a housekeeping call on October 1st, the day of the rampage. So they had all these interactions. They said they were normal. So housekeeping was up on his room that day, and I wish they'd give us a time. And nothing, nobody saw anything, no bags, nothing. I mean, it's just what little facts they do come out are harder to believe. And still a narrative that I've already destroyed before, if you've been listening to the show for a long time, is they talk about how many, over 500 people wounded, 58 people dead. So close to well over 550 people got hit with bullets, let's just say. Or, something bounced off, hit him, however you want to say. Many people got hit. They keep on telling you he fired into a crowd of 22,000 people. That is not the number of people that were there when he fired. I don't know who's pushing this narrative. This is what they keep on telling you from the police, and these reporters are just not smart enough to do the research, but it can easily be done. You can look at the live videos. You can look at, there's not 22,000 people at that concert when he fired. I don't know if there was even 22,000 people that whole day. But what I do know is there was no way there was 22,000 people. You look at that area, the spacing between the people. There was so much empty space. And yes, by the stage, of course, it's packed. You'll see that little video. But look at multiple videos. Look at everything. There's no way. And I've the same conclusion. I'm not a groundbreaker. I'm just me using common sense. There was 22,000 people there when he shot. So I don't know why they're still pushing that narrative. It's